Alright, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Indie Inquiries, where each week we review indie game store pages and provide marketing advice and critiques to help developers best sell their games. I am Josh Bycer from Game Wisdom, and joining me, my co host from Nexus Games, soon to be a new title, Sharky.
Hello, everybody. Yep, still setting the new name.
Alright.
It seems like the infinite loop.
We are starting with Loopmancer. Now, the two games for this week were not submissions. These were two that kind of caught our eyes for different reasons. And we're beginning with the game that, we have a thumbnail that, tells us it's some kind of Japanese or, Asian country inspired game, but not much else.
Yeah, it's very unclear to what this game even is.
The title or the description here is a 3D platformer roguelite action game with realistic graphics in a cyberpunk universe. That's not really conveyed by that thumbnail. And as we say, the thumbnail and the trailer are the two most important parts. And I don't see this attracting people.
Yeah, I mean it's an attractive looking thumbnail, but there's no structure. There's no anything besides an attractive looking thumbnail that isn't bright and catches the eye or anything. It's not eye catching. It's attractive, but it's not eye catching. And the font's clearly readable. I mean, that's kind of the only things it's got going for it.
Yep. And the point of the thumbnail is that it's gotta hook you. It's gotta get you interested in actually clicking on anything else. Because if it doesn't, then people aren't going to check out your game.
Yep. And people who don't check out your game rip everything else on your store page.
Oh yes. And as we're going to, as you've been probably seeing the screenshots, kind of a slideshow around on the left there, that there is some very bright colors. There's some distinction there that we're not getting across to that thumbnail. Like the very first screenshot with this very elaborate, looks like a marketplace of some kind. That background is very eye-popping, and that could have been used, I think, a lot better. Not, perfectly for this thumbnail, but at least it would have stood out more.
Yeah, it would have had more things going for it than it has now.
Yeah. So, grade-wise, this is a kind of a tough one. That it's not bad as in, oh my god, my eyes are, bleeding looking at it. But it's not catching. It's kind of just like a step...
It's not doing its job.
Yeah, it's just like a step above some of the most annoying ones that I have seen. Again, for those of you who watch, when I look on sites like Keymailer and press-related stuff, I have seen some nightmarish thumbnails. And hey, Smoke, and this one fortunately doesn't get there, but in the same token, why should I click on this? And there's not really an answer. So, yeah. Grade-wise, what are you thinking?
This has got to be a D+.
Yeah, I don't if it was bad, offensively bad, it would be an easy F.
Yeah, but it's not offensive. It's just because it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't do its job,
Yeah,
it's like a pretty girl at the counter that doesn't know how to do her job. You're like, I'd like to order a pizza. What's a pizza?
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing you sell. Yeah. Oh, we sell pizzas? Yes, you sell pizzas, That's what this thumbnail is.
I was hovering between D plus and C minus, and I just don't think it does enough to get into the C range, even a low C. So
yeah,
I think it gets a D plus for me too.
Yeah.
All right. So, are you ready for trailer number 1?
Yeah, and we're not going to watch the other trailers. I mean, we already did off stream, and they're pretty much
Just
mostly
gameplay.
the same.
Yeah. All right. Are you
Uh,
ready?
is Steam ready? I think I've got Steam ready now.
All right, starting up.
Okay.
So, this game really likes establishing shots, as
Yep,
you're going to
and it
see.
doesn't like cold openings.
Mm-hmm. And it's 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which is also
Detective,
too long.
You may
Yep.
not know me yet.
Way too long.
I want to play a game with
And
you.
it's certainly dragging on.
Yeah. Like, the footage, like, the character animations and their models, like, something is very off about them.
Yeah, they feel very stiff or, forced or something like that.
Yeah. Like, when you see characters move, it looks like a PlayStation 3 action game.
It might even be worse than that.
Could
But
be.
when you see them moving the cutscenes, they look smooth.
Yeah, but they also look
When
very,
they're
like,
in game,
stilted.
they don't.
Yeah. Like, when he kicks him into the oncoming car was kind of neat.
Yeah.
But I really don't like this UI. There's a lot of, like, little things on the screen.
And now they're
Your life
giving
and
us
death
what
are
looked
just
like a
part of my plan.
call to action, but it wasn't. It was just telling us what engines and whatnot they were running, and it's like,
Yeah.
why is that in there? Why does anybody care?
Yeah. The music is not matching the gameplay.
Yeah, it is not. And I need to turn my music up. Speaking of which,
And, like, it just looks... Oh, and now we have some...
You're trying so
It's like
hard.
spongy
As
blood.
gore. Yeah, it's like I'm gonna rip off your arm, and here's this little band-aid of stuff that
Yeah.
meat that's coming off. It looked so like that looked like worse than what
Now,
like Resident Evil did on PlayStation 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, like,
When it comes to gore.
it really is giving me the same vibe as Metal Gear Revengeance, which was a PlayStation 3 title done by Platinum Games. And there's no call to action at the end.
Nope, there's just a call to the name.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's the name of the game. That's all you need to know, right? You
Yeah.
don't need to know if it's on Steam. You don't need to know what platforms it is. You don't need to know if it's on consoles.
Yeah. And, like,
Nothing you
to
need to know there.
Smoke's comment, yeah, like, we have 2 other trailers that they're just all gameplay. Like, there's no real structure to them.
And it's the same gameplay that's in this one.
Yeah.
It's basically where they went through and they captured footage, and then they decided, let's redo that into another trailer. We won't go capture new footage. We'll just use the footage we already have,
Mm-hmm.
make a new trailer. That's better, but
Yeah, like-
I don't like it still. Let's do another new trailer. Still not going to capture new footage, and that's the trailer we just watched.
Yeah. It feels like a lot of this page was rushed for, like, the PAX event and kind of like the festivals that we just had.
Mm-hmm.
And so the trailer itself, like, the problem with it is that nothing about this is, like, screaming confidence about this game.
No. There's no structure to it. There's no.
It's
It
got
felt like almost like random gameplay footage, but
And-
it wasn't quite random gameplay footage because it felt like they were trimmed at least to
Mhm.
a good spec, but it was pretty close to feeling like random gameplay footage.
Yeah. Like, the gameplay actually in the game could be solid, but again, we don't rate trailers on what the actual game is. We rate them on what we see in the trailer.
But if we were to go off the trailer and try to make that assumption kind of thing, I would assume that it might not be because those animations were looking really stilted.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nothing about
whatnot.
this conveys roguelite either. There's
Yeah,
no like showing of those systems, no showing of anything that would be considered like that.
yeah.
And
They need to show some menus, some UI stuff that shows what you're
actually
doing.
show like the same level but differently, using the procedural generation or random generation. And like
Yeah,
it just is just not really working as a trailer. Like this would definitely be like a third or fourth string trailer on the store page. This is not a good primary trailer.
I wouldn't even say this would be a good secondary, third-tier trailer.
Hmm.
Just I mean,
It's
it
just
would be
footage.
better as a third or fourth, but
Hmm.
that would be assuming they would have a better trailer. And at which point, at the front, at which point I would say get rid of this trailer. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah. But this is a really solid example. Oh, they do show a little bit of those differences in the second trailer for like only like 5 seconds of like a split screen of two different parts of the same level. But this is just a really good example of graphics over aesthetics. That nothing really looks like it's standing out.
Yeah,
So, grade wise, it's not bad because, it looks horrible, the trailer's obnoxious. But again, the point of the trailer and the point of the thumbnail is that it's supposed to sell you on this game, it's supposed to make you want to learn more about it.
yeah. And there's nothing here that does that. No structure. It all feels like just random clips.
It's too
Nothing tells me
long.
what the real gameplay loop is, kind of thing. Nothing. There's no real substance here. It's just
Hmm. It's
random
noise.
clips
Hmm.
of
Like
gameplay and
the
cutscenes.
the second one is just slightly better because at least they show a little bit of the differences, but it's not your primary trailer. And most people aren't going to be watching all three trailers.
And they're definitely not if your first trailer does not sell good enough.
Hmm.
And this one definitely is not. So what do we think of her grade on this?
This is a tough one. That it's bad, but it's not bad for some of the usual reasons that we usually grade these trailers on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking in the F range.
Yeah. I'm thinking solid F because
Yeah.
there's just nothing here. I mean,
Yeah. Like
I
it.
I could I could just take and make a bunch of random gifs about a game.
Hmm.
And I mean random gifs, not like, planned out, this is something cool to show off. I could literally make a bunch of random gifs that are not and idle animations kind of thing and just throw them together with a random song from the soundtrack
And be done.
and and it might be a better trailer than this.
Yeah. Like, I was kind of touch and go on maybe giving it an F plus just because of the second trailer, but again, the problem is that most people aren't going to be clicking on all three of these trailers.
Yeah.
And the third trailer even shows work in progress, which you don't want that on your trailers. You don't want anything that dates your game in terms of its development.
Yeah, I mean the only reason why somebody would click on a second trailer is if the first trailer got at least a C
Hmm.
at a bare minimum, and
Or,
then it would be like really pushing it. I
yeah,
think.
or if it was actually legitimately like different trailers that cover different parts of your game. Like, this is the roguelike trailer, this is the action part of my trailer, this is the story trailer. But,
Even with that, they still wouldn't click on it
mhm,
if the first trailer did not hook them enough to click on it.
yeah,
And I think it would have to be at least in the C range to have any realistic chance of hooking somebody to go into other trailers.
yeah. Yeah, and just like,
And even at C range, I think, you're only going to get a very, very small percentage of people,
yeah,
like probably sub 1% kind of thing clicking on
yeah.
the second trailer.
Mm-hmm. And to Smoke's comment, is it good to have more than one trailer? It really depends on the game itself. You do need one really solid trailer. I think for a lot of indie developers, one is going to be your limit in that respect. Now, if your game is complicated enough, or you can legitimately do like different things with your trailers, show completely different aspects of your game in trailer 1 and trailer 2 and so on, you can do that. But I think it's ultimately more important to have one, knock it out of the park trailer than have like 3 or 4 just okay ones.
Yeah. But let me interject and tell you the reason why I'm going to have multiple trailers on my store page with Neon Continuum is I'm going to have a knock it out of the park S plus trailer, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
only going to be 29 seconds long. So there's not going to be a whole lot shown in
Mm-hmm.
that trailer, but that trailer will convey story. It'll convey, it'll show some nice polished cutscenes. It'll show some nice polished gameplay. It'll at least somewhat convey the core gameplay loop. You'll know that it's a
Mm-hmm.
grid-based card game. You probably won't know how to play it because it's very, very different than, other card games.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the limited time and, all the polish and everything, like, and the amount of stuff that it will actually take to tell somebody this other information, it's not going to all fit in that trailer. So we're going to have a second trailer that has that information in it and
Mm-hmm.
goes in, and I'm going to try to make that as good as possible without having so much levels of polish. I will probably put some polish in there, but like
Mm-hmm.
have a good structure, this is how the game actually works kind of thing,
Yeah.
kind of trailer
Right.
and stuff like that. But like the point is that the only people that are going to click on that trailer is the people that were sold by that first trailer but
Mm-hmm.
still want to see more.
Yep.
And they may want to see more because they've already wish listed it, but the game's not out yet.
Mm-hmm.
Or it may be they're not sold on wish listing it yet because it's like, okay, this is their best stuff, but what else do they have?
Yep.
Or I don't understand what's going on here, so they'll go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a secondary by necessity because
Yep.
we need to explain that other stuff. But like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not planning on making that a long trailer either.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sure.
to Dev Journey's comment about 3 short are greater than 1 long. Yeah, you want to keep your trailers as long as you need them to be, but you still want them to be on the shorter side. Again, we say that the primary trailer should be no more than 90 seconds, and that is if you have 90 seconds of, things you can actually legitimately show people and keep it new and exciting.
Yeah.
So, the grade,
For the
yeah,
trailer, we I think we already did that.
yeah, just again, I was thinking about an F plus, but I think I'm just,
Solid F.
it's just not enough to move it up. So
Yeah.
let's get to these screenshots. And one thing that I notice about a lot of them, they're very blurry. Like if you look at some of these, they're just like with exception of the establishing shots, like there's just a lot of like blur. Like it's kind of hard to make out the background.
And they're also very small.
Yeah. Like this first one, like if it was zoomed in a little bit more, this would be the perfect thumbnail, or at least far better in terms of catching your eye than what's there. But it's just very weird. Like the second one was definitely not in the trailer, but I'm pretty sure everything else was in some way, shape, or form.
I think the second one was in the trailer.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure all of these were in the trailer.
Let's see. Guy saying wants to play a game. Now, they had like the red background, but not that exact point. Again, lots of establishing shots. Yeah, but regardless, it has 9 screenshots, and almost every one of them is in the trailer. The
If
final
not
one
all
is
of them.
literally the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So they
So
don't meet the requirements in terms of 5 original screenshots.
yeah. So they have 0 original screenshots. So we're giving them I say an F minus.
Yeah, just an F minus on that one. And yeah, again, this is not going off well for a game that it looks like they put a lot of time into the look of it.
Yeah.
But you're not conveying to me what this game is. Other than generic 3D. Actually, I'm even debating, why is this a 3D platform? Everything's shown as side-scrolling.
Yeah. It's not a 3D platformer.
Could be 2.5D, but that doesn't look like it. Okay,
It
then.
may be 2.5D.
So let's get the about this game. So we have Amelia follow us for Discord and Twitter. The Twitter that's here is not even active anymore. It's been turned off.
Yeah, it's been deleted.
So that is
And
not
also,
a good
this
sign.
is not part of the about this game page. This is before it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And you
and
want
it's not polished. It's just broad links.
Yeah. And you
And
want
one of them's deleted.
you want the Discord in the title card as well.
Which it's clearly not, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, so
On to the about this game page.
This is a weird one in terms of what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Like, they're using
all these GIFs basically are in the trailer. So I think there might be one of these GIFs, the second one, that is not in the trailer.
I think this was in the third. No, that establishing shot of like the kind of spire was in the opening of the first trailer.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So they're all in that trailer.
Yeah. But what is very weird is that it says here, this is underlined, investigating the disappearance of a famous female journalist. And then 3 lines later, the disappearance of a famous female journalist. Like, why is this underlined twice?
Yeah.
Like,
it makes me think that somebody came in here and be like, "Oh, you got this line in here twice. Let me just underline it so you can spotlight it and then correct it later." And then nobody came in here and corrected it.
I think it's supposed to establish like the looping nature of the game, but it is not done well at all. Like, and this is kind of the overall problem for this page. Nothing is conveying to me roguelite. Like, you can look at like a page for Hades or Dead Cells or Biome of Isaac or Slay the Spire, any other game that has roguelike and roguelite elements to it, and it conveys it with how the game is presented. This is not doing that. And to devs comment why screenshots need to be original. Well, one thing is they're also there to give the consumer confidence that there's more to your game. You don't want to show them the exact same things because then it just looks like your game is smaller than it needs to be. And another point is that when you're doing your trailer, you oftentimes don't want to show UI elements. You want to zoom in on the footage, you want to edit compared to your main game. And the screenshots are a way to actually show people what does your game actually look like in-game. And it's really just more about building up that confidence.
And it's also about, if the trailer did not sell them enough, which is more than likely if they're going to the screenshots, then if the screenshots are the same as the trailer, that's also not going to sell them, And if they're to that point, they're probably going to click off at the page at that point, So you need the screenshots to sell them on different stuff that your trailer did not.
Yeah, and
Just like you need your GIFs and everything down here in your About This Game page to sell on different things than what either one of those did. You want all three of them to be different.
yeah,
And now reusing a couple things can be all right as long as they are key things.
you know, like a crazy boss fight, uh, something that's actually showing off a system of your game,
Yeah,
and
stuff like that. But like you want to keep that to a bare minimum. If
yeah,
you can avoid it at all possible, avoid it. But if you can't, then that would be the acceptable things to repeat.
yeah,
But you want to again keep it to a very, very bare minimum, which means that if you have a smaller game, that means you probably want a shorter trailer so that you have more different things to show off in the GIFs and in the
yeah.
screenshots.
But getting back to Loopmancer here, that nothing here is really showing me anything new. And the
Yeah, it's all
looping
the same GIFs.
is like the looping on the third one is just very off. It's like the one we saw from Severed Fate last week.
Yeah,
And the problem is, as an action game fan, I'm not seeing, excitement here. I'm not seeing why I should care about this game. The fast-paced battle action, you're telling about unlocking new weapons, new abilities, unlock over 100 weapons, but you're showing me the exact same footage that was in the trailer.
yep, and nothing about unlocking anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing about skills, nothing about tech, nothing about prosthetic limbs. You're just showing me generic combat.
Yeah. And as a point of comparison, I just want to quickly check out the Dead Cells store page for a second, because I just want to see what they did. And like in the Dead Cells one, they're showing GIFs, and each GIF purposely has a different weapon in it. So you're seeing that there is variety to what's going on in it.
Yeah.
And they're also zoomed in. They're definitely better than what we saw in Loopmancer.
Yeah, you always want to be showing off different content on your store page, because if you're showing off the same thing, if that the thing is people go down, in the page in basically a certain order. And basically if they bypass one section and they didn't wish list your game, and then you show the same thing, they aren't going to be sold to hit the wish list button again.
Yeah.
It's like,
and again,
it's like a used car salesman. If he comes up to you and says, "Hey, this baby's got 15 miles on it. Do you want to buy it?" No. Why would I buy it based off of that one thing?
Yeah.
Well, this baby has 15 miles on it. Would you like to buy it?
Yeah.
No. I already said no to that. Well, this baby has 15 miles on it. Would you like to buy it? And that's what your store page is doing if it's just the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah. And again, the goal of your store page is that the title card has to hook them. Then if the title card gets them to click on the page, and they're going to click on the trailer.
Well, that's if they're coming from Steam.
Yeah.
If they're coming from Steam, the thumbnail has to hook them. If they're not coming from Steam, then the thumbnail's pretty much null and void.
Yeah, but you need to make sure everything is working on the store page, because you don't know where people are going to be coming from.
Yeah, more than likely, if you're small, a large percentage of your people will probably be coming from Steam.
Mm-hmm.
So your thumbnail is the second most important thing. Now, what everybody's going to see, and what is, excuse me, the most important is the trailer.
Mm-hmm. But to bring this back to the game, that again, like we have this, like the amount of text in between each section is good. You want maybe at most 4 to 5 lines. Yeah, but
where it has 2 paragraphs.
There's nothing that's really showing me what they're talking about. Face over 30 enemies, I'm not seeing that. This is the same footage from the trailer. The part where it says certain roles will change at random, I am not seeing that in that GIF. And here's the point. They have a part in the second trailer where they're showing the split screen of the level being different. So they could have at least taken that and put it here.
Yeah. But that still wouldn't have been good because, again, you don't want to duplicate your content.
Yeah.
But
But
that
at
would
least
have
it would have
been
been
better
better.
than what they have now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all just, here's some stuff telling you about the game, and here's a random GIF with no context.
Yeah. And
It's like, wouldn't you like to go see the beach? I can sell you the beach. I can sell you this location on the beach, and then you just show them a random picture in Washington D.C.
yeah.
And then you're like, would you like to go to the mall close to the beach? And then you show them, a convenience store in Colorado.
Yeah. But we're getting
It's
a little
just
bit off topic
no
here with
context.
the analogies. Yeah. And again, like as somebody who plays action games, nothing is selling me on this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very big problem. So, grade wise, like, it's definitely not in the C range. I don't consider this to be. Like, I see this like borderline FD range for me.
Yeah.
And.
I think I'm going to go with D-.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is just really not good.
It's got style, but no substance.
Yeah, exactly. And no context either.
Mm-hmm. And I think I will have to give it an F plus because nothing about this is making me want to play this as an action game. Like maybe 10 years ago, this could be something a little bit more interesting, but we've seen so much in terms of these kinds of designs. And like, as another quick aside, I just want to check out what the Hades store page looks like.
You're going on a tangent now?
Yeah. And again, far better in terms of what they're showing. Not the best store page, but at least it's showing a lot more variety. Like the very first GIF on the Hades page beats every GIF on the Loopmancer page.
Yep. I mean, you might as well consider the Loopmancer page has no GIFs because they're all the same.
Yep.
Just like we consider it have no screenshots because they're all the same.
Yep. So
if they're all the same, then
let's go.
You don't have any.
Let's go to the title card. So off the bat, though, it does have all the genre tags. It has all the important ones.
Yeah. It could have had single player on top of this, but we grade this based off of a 3-tag system, and basically we look for one good tag and 2 freebies normally, which would be like good tags would be example of action, adventure, RPG, which just has 3 good tags, and the freebies would be indie, single player, multiplayer.
Yeah, early access. If the game was in early access, that kind of thing. Yeah, so this is good.
We always want to see at least 3. One good one, and 2 others. This one has 3 good ones and 1, give me.
Yeah, because this is how the algorithm is going to promote your game. And the fact that they have action and RPG, that's going to get it to like anyone who's played a Dead Cells, anyone who's played Devil May Cry. Again, there's so many action games, my brain is like struggling to remember them all. And
Call of Duty?
Yeah. So the Twitter is working, like it goes to the correct one, but I don't think they allow you to message them from it.
No, you said they didn't.
Yeah. YouTube is a channel that just has the same 3 trailers, so it's not really active.
Yeah,
and
it's
again,
not an active YouTube channel. There's no Discord on here.
And again, the follow us does not count for the title card. It needs to be right over here.
Yeah. And also considering that the follow us, the link to the Twitter is broken,
Yeah.
Makes it worse.
Again, this page just really screams of being rushed. And I do wonder if like this is just supposed to be like a placeholder page for when the game is like officially announced and they're going to redo it. But, be that case, this is still publicly on Steam right now. People are able to see it.
Yeah. And Dev said that he heard that the tags were a waste of space. No, they are
No,
absolutely
he's not
not.
about the indie tag specifically.
Oh,
Yeah.
the indie tag is not a waste of space, but it is fairly useless.
It's
but
padding.
fairly useless is not useless.
Yeah.
It's the fact is that if you can get 1% more eyes on your game,
Mm-hmm.
it's not very much. It's fairly useless. But 1% more eyes
Mm-hmm.
is potentially 1% more sales, so
Yeah,
that's not useless.
It's just padding for your page. Again, single player, multiplayer, indie, and early access. Those four are kind of the gimmies when they're applicable. What you want are actual genre definitions. Action, adventure, strategy, shooter, RPG, roguelike. Things that really nail what your game is and what is going to be the fan base. Because again, this is how Steam is going to start suggesting games. If I scroll down here, if we look at the,
you do want every tag that you can possibly get, because even if it's not a great tag, it'll still improve. Now, what you don't want to put in here is tags that do not apply to your game, because that'll bring people who are not interested in your game over to your store page, at which point they may buy it and thinking that it's something that it's not, and then give you a negative review because of that. So you want every tag that is possibly substance to your actual game listed. If it's an indie game, put indie game. If it's a single player game, put single player game. Indie and single player and all that stuff is pretty useless, but it's not useless. And you can use every advantage that you can get.
Yeah, and you can have more than 5 tags. Nothing is stopping you from doing that. But you can have, we look at the categories on Steam, you can see the variety of them, and you definitely want to include these in as well. Again, when they fit your game. And let's see.
Well, this has nothing to do with the player tags.
Yeah. This is more about
player tags and such are up here. Like Metrovania 3D platformer hack and slash. These are things that you cannot select down here.
Yeah, you want the stuff like the categories. Like if you click over here, like puzzle, adventure, racing, dating, visual novel, story rich.
Not even all of these under categories are selectable in that one section.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's only like 20 possible tags for this bottom section for the title card.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few tags that actually work down here. But when you're a developer filling out your page, you fill out this section at the same time as you fill out this section here.
Mm-hmm.
But then users can add more to this. And, that's the bad thing about Steam is their tags are completely screwed.
Yeah, if you click on one of those tags and you go to the narrow by tag part on the right here, these are the major tags that's on Steam right now. So stuff like indie, single player, 2D, adventure, casual, shooter, multiplayer, atmospheric, arcade, simulation, strategy. Now there are more tags. If you click on action and you scroll down, it shows you what are some of the other tags that you can narrow things down by. So these are the ones that are the most popular, some of the ones that are the biggest ones.
Oh, the narrow by tag, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if your game fits one of these, put it on there.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know why they don't have this as a 2D game, because I'm not seeing the 3D elements of it. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, the tags up here, the user-defined tags, that's what your fans and other people are marking your game as. The tags down here on your title card, that's what you as a developer are categorizing your game as.
The developer also does the user tags too.
Okay.
When you fill out your tags, it fills into both of them at the same time.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
because like I selected like dark story and all this other stuff on my when I was filling out my tags, and it didn't pop up down here. It
Yeah.
only popped up here in user tags. So it's weird. Steam's tag system is really screwed up.
Yeah.
And really horrible. But that is what we have to deal with.
And you gotta jump through those hoops.
When I filled out all these things here, a lot of them came up here. Only a few came down here because there's only a few that actually applied down here. And these are down here are the most important.
Yeah. But to get back to the grade, because we kind of got off topic there. So it's got the tags, but it's missing the contact information.
Yeah,
so
the Twitter can't contact, the YouTube doesn't have any content, and there is no Discord.
Yeah. Again, Discord, while it's good that it's over here, it needs to be over here as well. Because you want your information to be compartmentalized. So, grade-wise, definitely not in the B range, because it's missing the important contact links. But it does have good tags.
Yeah,
so
that's mainly all it has.
Yeah.
But it's not completely void on the other stuff. It's just very not good on the other stuff.
Yeah. So
I think I'm going to give it a C-.
Yeah. I'm kind of hovering between C- C myself. Yeah. I think
I just don't think it strikes that average.
Yeah,
I think it's below average.
If the Twitter had messaging on it, I think easy C, maybe even a C+, just because of doing that part right. But this is essentially...
Or if the YouTube had, active content being made for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel it's just below average. So I think I'll give it a C- too. So, the fun part, the overall grade. So
yeah, this is not going to be pretty because the trailer is a vast part of your grade. Your trailer grade is only going to be affected by 3 grades higher, 3 grades lower for your total grade. So since it's an F for the trailer grade, it could be like a whatever is below an F-.
Some grade we haven't invented yet.
Yeah, or it could be all the way up to a D.
Yeah.
So it's not going to come out of this good,
Mm-hmm.
Because the trailer really
we gave the thumbnail a D+, so that
will bring it up,
but not really by a lot. Like when we're talking about bumping things up by multiple grades, like safely you should be like high B, low A if you wanted to like really see a bump here.
Yeah, if everything else was S, it would only upgrade it to from F to a D.
Yeah.
So that would upgrade it. It would first go to F+, then a D-, and then a D.
Everything else, we gave the screenshots in F. We gave the screenshots
we gave it an F-, so that's actually dragging the trailer down.
The title or the about this game, I was in F+, you were D-.
Yep, which is going to hold it.
The only quote-unquote high point was the title card, which got a C-.
Which is the lowest factor in the grade.
Yeah, and even then would not be enough to kind of circumvent the Fs and the Ds.
Yeah.
So, I don't see this page moving.
Yeah, I think this overall grade is the same as the trailer grade.
Yeah.
An F.
It's not the worst grade, but it's really damn close.
Yep.
And again, this is what we talk about in terms of both structure and aesthetics. That this page, on first glance, it looks really good. It looks like a lot of production value was put into it. Mm-hmm. But none of that is really conveyed in selling somebody on this game. And
what's weird is we see pages that look far, far worse than this, but they grade far, far higher because they did things more right. Now then, keep in mind that we're judging based off of what the the store page did, and not the game itself,
Yep,
not the game aesthetics, none of that. So that means that this game, based off of its aesthetic, could sell better than a game with worse aesthetics
and a really good
that had a
demo
better score.
could do a lot to alleviate the concerns of this game. But it's that same problem. You're going to convince somebody to download the demo when your thumbnail, your trailer, and your screenshots, and even your About This Game page aren't doing that job.
Yep.
And that's
because
a
time is money, and
very
they got to download it and
tall
take
order.
the time to play it.
Yep. That is a huge order to ask of your demo. So I think with that, I think that's all I really want to say about Loopmancer. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised it didn't score better.
Yep. And that is going to, I think, be a theme for our next game. So let us switch over. Yeah. But for different reasons.
Yep.